Hey, welcome back to the Hockey's for Everybody podcast. I am your host, Anthony Walsh, and I am here with my co-host, Travis Bennett.
Thanks, Anthony. Glad to be here for season 2, episode 1. A little bit about me real quick is I am a Minnesota Warrior, which we are disabled veteran hockey. We fall under diversified hockey, which you're familiar with diversified hockey, being hockey's for everyone. So, 7 years in the United States Army, medically discharged, and now I fundraise for the Warriors to bring mental health to disabled veterans through hockey. So, enough about me. Anthony, should we get on with the show here?
Yes, we're really lucky to be back with Tyler Brodersen, the varsity coach for St. Louis Park. Tyler was our guest last season, and so it's more than a treat to have him back today. Thank you so much. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back. Always happy to be here.
Fantastic. We don't want to waste any time. We got a few tough questions for you, but we're going to let Travis take off here for us.
Yeah, so quick side note real quick here. Tyler, I recently brought my 4-year-old to his first ever Minnesota boys varsity hockey game. Just happened to be at Chaska, some Oreo hockey. My son, we were sitting in the Chaska's parent section. You guys put up the first goal. My son goes crazy, and I definitely got some looks for that, but well worth it. Great game. Glad I can introduce my son to hockey with your team. So, first question, we'll go hard off the bat. What's it like to cut a player?
Well, I'm glad we could give him a good first experience. I think it was a good game, and the Orioles came out on top, which is always kind of how we want it to go, right? Any high school coach that you ask, the hardest part of the season is tryouts and making cuts. I think that the kids talk a lot about being excited for the season and being excited for day one. I'm always excited for Thursday of that first week because that's our first practice with the whole group. But I do not look forward to cuts. It's definitely the hardest part of the job. I think it's something that I don't want to do. I think obviously the kids don't want to be in that situation, but it also is something that just has to happen sometimes in terms of, you talk about space, you talk about rosters. You also just look at, at the end of the day, everybody wants to be on the ice. And particularly when you're talking about seniors, but when you're talking about guys who aren't going to be on the ice, it's sometimes better to just make the cut on the front half. And it can be really difficult for everyone involved. But then the kid can then go explore other options. We are lucky in St. Louis Park to have a really good junior gold program to work with. So we send a lot of kids over there, and then they do a really good job of kids that don't make our junior gold A team. That's combined with Benilde St. Margaret's. They help place those kids so they have somewhere to play hockey if they want to. So I think that makes it a little bit easier for us. I think for me, one of the things that I always really stand by is that I have to be able to do it myself, and I have to be able to look the player in the eye and kind of explain what happened. So, the way we do it is we have a little bit smaller program, so some of the bigger schools need a little bit more time, but we, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are our tryout days, and the kids skate for 2 to 3 hours in those 2 days or 3 days. And then we meet with every kid in the program individually on Wednesday to kind of tell them where they're at. So, you look at top to bottom, we have 36 stalls in our locker room. So that's generally the number we're looking for. 1 to 36, every single kid has very different goals going into that tryout. And some kids are super happy to make the varsity team. Others are just happy to make the team. And then obviously there's some you have to have the really hard conversation with. And yeah, so it's not fun for anybody. The thing that always, pushes me is at the end of the day, I'm doing everything I can to make sure I'm making the right decisions for the program. And that's really the best way for us to focus on as coaches, and then try to do right by each kid individually within that model.
I can only imagine, honestly. I do a lot of coaching in youth hockey currently, and we do this thing with pins at the end of it, and the kids everybody gets one right at the end of the day, everybody working hard, all that kind of stuff. But even having the pick just in that day, the kids of who's going to get that pin, you can tell, them, being disappointed and stuff like that when they don't get it even within that day. And so I can only imagine having to tell a young gentleman that, hey, I know that you grew up looking to play for the Orioles and put on that, jersey, Oriole jersey, but that we're not going to have an opportunity for you to do that this year. And so, it's something that, I don't admire that part of your job, but yeah.
I think one other thing that I think is really important is, sometimes we make cuts and kids come back, right? Where it's a 1-year decision, and it's really tough when it's a senior. But some of them have had really good experiences playing junior gold. But we've also had kids that have gotten cut at younger ages and then made our program in future years. And you see that, like, the excitement the following year when they make the team, like, that is like, okay, this felt really good. Is seeing the improvement, seeing the push, and some kids decide not to keep playing, and that's okay too. That's their decision. But sometimes when you see those kids come back, and it's like, wow, like the effort and intensity that takes, and how hard it must be to come back to tryouts the following year, and you see how much these kids are growing. And that's really cool for us to see as coaches too when that happens.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing.
I've been that senior who got cut. I was my senior year, got cut from lacrosse. And I mean, I think the best part about it was just my coach being honest with me. And, that's all you can do is just say, hey, man, gave all you could. It's a competitive sport. It's just not there. And it's not easy. My coach was crying. It's the only time I've ever seen him cry, and it's not easy. And, kudos to you for encouraging the kids. And, it's cool that, hey, we got this great JGA program and you're finding them a place. Like, they're not done. They just, maybe not wearing the jersey they want to, but still have a career. So that's awesome. You guys got a good program for the kids who don't make the roster. So,
yeah, honestly, too. And, I was going to say we can move on from this, but honestly, I think a lot of people have this kind of connection, right, to something like that. And so my brother had played varsity and then sophomore, junior, didn't make it his senior year, got cut, played junior gold, then back where he had grew up and all that kind of stuff like that. So he ended up playing for Hopkins. We grew up in Edina, but him having that opportunity, like you're saying, really allowed him, who he loves hockey so much. He plays in men's leagues, multiple times, a week, all that kind of stuff, to still have an opportunity to play that game. And so, when I think about something like hockey is for everybody, or, diversifying hockey, right? It's not just for Black and brown people, low income, people with disabilities. Like, it's also for people that are hockey players who we don't necessarily believe deserve an opportunity to play. Well, no, everybody deserves an opportunity. Everybody deserves to get on the ice, to have fun, to feel confident and authentic in themselves. And we give those opportunities, I think, a lot better in hockey and in other sports than maybe, do. Because I don't know if there's opportunities like that in lacrosse. Do they have a junior gold system in lacrosse as well?
No. I mean, they might now. I mean, when I was a senior in high school, I think lacrosse had been a sanctioned Minnesota sport for all of like 2 or 3 years. I think I made it my sophomore year, and that might have been the first year it was sanctioned. And, I still remember when I was in high school, junior gold was just up and coming. Blaine got the Ice Dogs, and now they're one of the biggest programs. So, it's cool to see how much it's growing, to give everyone a chance. And it isn't just, like you said, it's not just about your income level, your are you Black, brown, disabled, all that. It is, hey, I just want to get out on the ice and play, and I'm just not as skilled, and there's not the spots. And it's cool to see everyone get a chance, if it's not varsity, and continue on in their career and go on to play old man hockey like we play.
Well, I think that's one of the beauties of hockey, right? Like we say it like, as a few of the guys on my coaching staff are guys I played in college with, and we always say, like, every road leads to men's league. I play in a men's league where we have I play Division III hockey. We have guys who play Division I. We have my brother who played a couple of years at Hopkins, played varsity hockey there, and then we have guys on the other team who played in the AHL. And they're on the same ice right now because all roads lead back to men's league. And that's, hockey is a lifetime sport. And for the people who play it, that's what it is. And it allows people to stay in the game. And, I think, with, the cutting piece of it, like, it's a real bummer. But at the end of the day, like, we have the Rock, and some kids we've cut, I walk out and I see them on the Rock with the guys on the team, and they're just loving the game. And so, at the end of the day, like, that's what we lean back on, is like, you love the sport and you love the game, and you do, as a coach, you do the best you can, but really the kids and how much they love the game ends up shining through in a lot of different situations.
100%. Yeah, the beauty of hockey, it's a lifelong thing. You learn to skate when you're 2, 3, 4 years old, 10, 11. I know people have done that as well, and they're playing into their.
We got guys who are just learning now, and they're 50. We got a guy who's a year into hockey, and he's 50 years old. I've watched him, was like an infant, watching him learn how to skate, take his first little steps on the ice to now he knows what offsides is, and he's almost scoring goals. But it's fun. It's cool to hear that it's just for everyone.
Beautiful thing for everyone, for everybody. Okay, well, so we talked a little bit earlier about your team and the successes and the lessons also that you've learned, the ups and the downs. You've taken down juggernauts like Chanhassen. We were talking about them being a wagon a few seasons ago, and then also recently tying Benilde, who has a history of making it to state and a couple times winning and stuff like that. And so your program really has a lot of great successes so far this season. Can you tell us about what your message is when you go in, when your team wins? And then also we've talked about some of those as well, and some of those losses that maybe you dropped that you wish your team didn't, and what's your message for your team then as well when you have to go in to have them kind of regroup to say, all right, let's get back out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question. I think we talk a lot about building, right? Like everything is trying to build towards the end of the year, trying to build towards section playoffs, and at the end of the day, like the goal is to have the best game you can put on the ice in sections, and then you just kind of see where the chips fall. And so for us, that's really the message every single game is like, how are we getting better today to help us in February and hopefully someday in March? That's the kind of thing that we're trying to preach every single game. So it's, when it's a win, when it's a good win, it's like, okay, like what do we do today that we can bring forward? What were the successes that we had today? How did it feel for you to play this well? And, I think the other piece of it is within every single game, individuals play differently, right? So a big team win is going to take a lot of different really good pieces to, fall in together. We want the kids to come back together and say, okay, this is what I did well. How do I replicate that? And then, the loss is like, okay, well, what do you learn from that? Like, what didn't we do today? Did we, a Saturday 7 p.m. game, we didn't have school. Did we lay in bed till 2 p.m. and roll out of bed to get on the bus, and all of a sudden we, it takes us 2 periods to find our legs or whatever it is. But like, how do we learn from that just as much as a win? And I think that's how you really take steps forward every single game, because I mean, high school hockey, like you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. Every single coach I talk to is like, God, if we could just be consistent, it'd be awesome. And it's like, yeah, well, it's our MO. That's your MO. That's all these guys. That's what it is. Cause high school kids have got 1,000 things on their plate, and whether it's, who they're going to go to prom with, or who they're, what they're doing on their next test. And I think it's really important as coaches to remember all that other stuff that's sitting on these kids' plates, and, making sure they have time to get away from the rink and go do their homework and not just be, they're not just hockey players, they've got all this other stuff going on. And so that's really the message, is like, how do we build every single day? Win, lose, tie. How do we build? How do we make sure we're ready for the next time? And when you get those big moments and those, we took us a few years to get over the hill with some of them, and, beating a Chanhassen this year, last year we beat them. It felt really good because it felt like some of this work was paying off. The tie with Benilde felt very similar, but then it also, like, we'd like to win that game, right? So like, how do we find a way next year to pop one more, and then, getting to move to Class A this year and getting more of a chance to compete with the teams that have similar programs to us. We're excited now to like see where playoffs will take us, and that's, you can feel the excitement in our group, and so we're ready for that.
Just quick follow-up question. I just pulled up the rankings, and like, we're talking about what message you bring to your team, and how you're talking about, you beat Chan, you tie Benilde. I mean, I'm looking at the AA standings rankings right now. You got Chanson at 17 right now. You got Benilde St. Margaret had, right outside the top 20. And you guys are right outside the top 20 for single. How, as a coaching staff, do you stay level-headed being rebuilding a program? St. Louis Park isn't really one of the blue chip programs in the Twin Cities, but I'm looking here and you're right outside that top 20. How do you stay level-headed as a coach, knowing the progress you've made and come forward with this team and to continue on as you go into playoffs as single A this year?
Yeah, I think we try really hard not to look at those.
Oop.
I mean, the kids are looking at them, right? Like, as much as we tell them not to, they are,
I
right?
got some computer privileges taken away in high school for checking, like, what was it? MN Hockey Hub? Is that what the rate is? We're back in high school. Or every third period.
Play hockey is what.
Yeah, that's what I did.
They
It wasn't my hockey, man.
You would go and you would, grab it every week and you want to see where your team was at.
Yeah.
I great memories of that.
Yeah.
How does that feel being in those conversations now? Like, how do you stay level-headed and keep with the journey, keep committed, you're not done yet.
Mhm.
It feels like it, but you're not. How do you keep level-headed as a coaching staff?
Again, I think it's just like, it's all about building. It's all about taking steps forward. I mean, we can feel like we're in a good spot, and we are. Our kids work really hard day in and day out, and they know what it's going to take. And getting over those hills are ways for our players to see that hard work paying off for them. But we're not where we want to be. Like, we know we're still a ways away from, the Hermantowns of the world. And that's like at the Class A level, that's kind of the top, the pinnacle of the type of program you're looking for. And we're not trying to be Hermantown. We're trying to get St. Louis Park to the level where we can be a consistent threat, right? And talk a lot about community in St. Louis Park. I'm sure we'll get to that a little bit later. But for us, it's like, okay, how do we keep building to be that, where our community is that every single day? You know what you're going to get when you play St. Louis Park. What kind of game do you want that to be that teams know is going to come every single day when you play them?
Yeah, totally. I think too, as you're kind of saying that too, last time we talked, you had mentioned some of your players that were up and coming. You had mentioned the Bantam team had done really well. The Pee Wee team had done really well. You had a goalie that, anytime you were going to play, they were going to have you in the game kind of regardless, right? They might make a good stop there, here or there, all that. Where are some of these players now? Have some of them progressed through the program? Are some of them playing junior somewhere in college and coming back? And you talk about the culture and everything, with St. Louis Park and what you're building. Tell us a little bit about that with your program.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys have had a ton of success. I think, I look back at a couple of years ago now that we had that conversation, but we have Max Ryder is currently in the USHL, committed to Western Michigan. He was, I coached him for 2 years in Bantams and 2 years in high school at St. Louis Park High School. Now he's committed to Division I, playing. He's up there on his team in the USHL. We have, Griffin Crone playing out in Canada, playing junior hockey. I think he's like second or third on his team in points. He's having a really big year out there. Goalie Josh Middleton is having a lot of success. He's a NA3 top prospect, going to their top prospects tournament, getting to play in that. And that's, again, we talk about kids and their intensity and their stick-to-itiveness. As a kid, Josh Middleton, who had a massive injury his senior year of high school and missed an entire year of his junior career. And he's still going and he's still playing at a high level. We've got a couple other kids in junior hockey, Trey Jansen, Tyler Hesser in the North American Hockey League right now, having success there. It's fun to see our guys. We've got a couple guys playing club hockey in college. Again, just like continuing to play hockey, right? And that's the culture that we're trying to build, is like, you can come here and you can play at the next level. But also, like, you're going to learn, a lot of things that are going to help you be successful at the next stage, whether it's in hockey, whether it's in light. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're trying to build, good young men who leave our program and are ready for the next step in their lives. And that's what St. Louis Park High School is about. That's what our hockey program's about, is making sure these guys are ready for whatever comes next. And so we're super proud of the guys who do it in hockey. We're also really proud of the guys who are doing it in all the other aspects of their lives too, that are just, continuing to take really good steps forward. So
really quick also on that, just because I think about college hockey now, And when we were playing, the rules have completely changed.
Yeah.
Completely. And so, I mean, I did have a couple questions. Actually, I even had taken out about that, but I do think I'm going to ask some of them. So even thinking about that with ACHA, we're seeing teams there. There are teams within the SEC that play ACHA. Knowing that moving towards college, all that kind of stuff, is D1 or bust still something maybe you're hearing from your players? Are you hearing more things like, yeah, I want to go play at Alabama, I want to go play at LSU and enjoy SEC football, watch, have that culture of big college, but then I also get to play hockey, have fun. I know for a while, Iowa State had a robust, more like club style program. We've seen that ASU went from being a club program to a Division I program, and so there's so much that's really changed and shifted. We're seeing the Canadian teams, open up. Gavin, first round draft pick.
Yeah, he went from juniors to Penn State. There's a whole nother story there right now, but
Yeah, that honestly, you could even ask about that a little bit later. But because I mean, that'll be honestly fascinating. Maybe you could get your take on that from a coach's perspective. But what are you like telling your players?
Well, Tyler, real quick. I mean, we're talking about ACHA. Eli Punchner, one of your former kids. I coached him.
I was literally about to talk
So
to him. Yeah.
I know him from the Blue Ox.
Yeah.
So I, involved with Blue Ox, and so you're talking about this ACHA. And the journey of the kids get to keep going. Like I was part of his story. I mean, he left you in St. Louis Park. Like I know his family real well.
Yeah, one of the best families we've had through our program. The Pugners are great people. Eli is, again, like one of the hardest workers. Like that's the kid who, like, he still comes in the summers and he's just shooting in the corner at the rec center. Over winter break, he's shooting in the corner at the rec center, just shooting pucks. And he's a great example. We have him. He's at Western Michigan playing ACHA hockey.
Yeah.
And then we have Mason Amos is at Arizona State. Talk about SEC, not quite SEC, but I don't even know it. I think they're Big 12 now, Arizona State. But getting that school experience and still playing hockey at a high, pretty high level. And again, it's about trying to prepare kids for whatever the next step is. And for many of them, it's still junior hockey and still trying to figure out where that path will lead them and trying to play Division I, trying to play Division III. But there are so many other roads now. And, I think it speaks to, what a couple things we talked about, but the road is different now than it was when we played. It's a lot harder to get to the Division I level than it ever has been, because there's so many different, with the major juniors being able to play, that, there has to be a little bit more openness to other routes. And, there's also that all the fraternities at the northern schools have their own teams, right? Like we have guys who are playing frat hockey at the U of M or North Dakota, and loving it because they just like playing hockey. So there are so many more routes, and it's always fun to see our guys continue to play hockey wherever it is.
Yeah. So the Pugners, like y'all both know the family. You're talking about just outstanding family. You're talking earlier as well that you said St. Louis Park, the culture has just bred the most incredible hockey families. Travis and I were discussing that some of the, times that we've seen growing up and, even now, hockey parents can get a little bit crazy. Do you have that with St. Louis Park at all? Do you have any parents or families or any stories of just like, oh my gosh, this happened here or there? Or is it a pretty cohesive bond, a brotherhood, family, that's kind of been built out of the program and out of the culture from St. Louis Park?
I think we do a really good job in St. Louis Park of creating a good community. I think that's one of the benefits of we try to connect our youth program and our high school program as much as possible. One of the first things I did when I got the job was I'd been the Bantam coach. And so I've been working closely in the youth program. And so then I was like, okay, how do we make this bridge a little bit better and more connected? And so for me, it's like trying to get to know all of the youth families in the best way I can. I can't know everybody, but I think I know most of the kids. I think from squirts up, I would know most of them, like know their faces, know their names. And that creates a culture where, nobody's going to agree with everything I do. Like there's just no way for that to be the case. And I'm not always right. And so like you are going to have disagreements but I think for me it's, you want the parents to feel and the kids and everybody to feel like they know that I'm trying to make decisions that are best for the whole program. And so yeah, I mean we've had discontent parents, we've had unhappiness, but we don't, I mean honestly in my 4 years we haven't had any of the big, blow up stories you hear in some places. And I think that speaks to what St. Louis Park hockey is. I think it speaks to the community we have. I think people who are from St. Louis Park, it's like a small town in the middle of a big city. And it's not a small town, right? We have a fair number of people who live here, but the community is very tight knit. Whether it's the hockey community, the basketball community, the baseball community, like very tight knit communities, and that makes it, where we don't have what some of these programs have to see and deal with. And so, yeah, I don't have any great stories on that. Again, we've had parents who were angry. I try to be really open and have an open door policy. And I've had my fair share of conversations with parents. And again, it's just trying to come from that place of, the more you can have open and honest communication with families, with players, generally the kids know whatever the situation is, like, I'm not getting enough ice. Well, I understand why. And, that helps. And when we have these conversations when it does get to the point of having a conversation with a family, I make sure that the kids are involved, right? Or the kid is a part of that conversation so that at the end of the day, me and a parent can have whatever conversation. Doesn't actually matter unless the kid understands, right? And the kid knows what he needs to do, or me and the player have to be on the same page so that he can do whatever it is. If I'm not seeing something and he feels like it is, well, then we can have that conversation, and that's going to be more productive than any type of conversation I have with a parent, right?
Making sure you have the same expectations.
Yeah, yeah, and having that open door policy where, our office is in the locker room and the kids feel comfortable coming and talking to us. Um, you know, my assistants, like, their part of their job is making sure the kids know that if they don't feel like they can come to me, that they can come to them, and then I can talk to the assistant coach. It can be hard sometimes, right? Like the varsity head coach, it can be like, whoa, like that. I don't know if I want to go talk to him, but like, let's talk to me then, right? And that's for my assistants, like, come talk to me. And when I was in college, that was a huge benefit. I played for Mike Eves, who was, this just like big, huge name in hockey, and had been at the Division I level in Wisconsin for all these years. And, I wasn't playing, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And he was always so honest and so open. Like, I tried really hard to model myself after that. And then his assistant coaches were always there. And so you could talk to them. And so I've, again, I'm not going to say I do everything right, but I've tried really hard to instill that in our program. And we've, for the most part, had a lot of success there. And I think it speaks to the culture and kind of what we're trying to build, from the youth program all the way up.
I want to roll into this next one because we were just kind of talking about the parents. I want to get back on the kids and your players. What do you expect out of them on social media? Obviously, us growing up, we were just joking around about how we had flip phones. Maybe the biggest issues we had with social media when we were playing was, you took your line mate out of your top friends on MySpace. That was the biggest controversy I think we would have had in our playing days was you weren't in my top 5 friends or whatever it was. But what do you expect out of your players with social media and just how fast social media is exploding and how just slippery of a slope it can be?
Yeah. Well, I will start by saying I never had a MySpace. I was not. I know what you're talking about.
He avoided the
I did. I avoided MySpace as long as I could. I obviously bit the bullet on Facebook, right? But yeah, no. I mean, social media is such a different animal now. You try really hard to keep phones out of locker room as much as you can. Our school has a lot of social media policies, and the high school hockey program is an extension of the school, right? And so some of it comes there, but like stories a couple years ago, I I was on TikTok, and all of a sudden I was like, someone you may know, and it was a Orioles hockey TikTok from our team that went viral. And it was ESPN reposted it. They did a locker room tour. And it had like 5 million views or something like that.
Like,
And it just popped up on my feed, and I was like, oh, we have a TikTok. Oh, it's got 5 million views.
MTV.
Oh, it's on ESPN. And that's literally how it was. They walked into the locker room.
You found out from TikTok.
It showed up on my feed.
And ESPN what is it? Retweet, repost. What is it? TikTok? Oh, I feel old.
Yeah.
You find out that repost. You find out you got an MTV Cribs locker room edition from a repost from ESPN.
Pretty much. And they, so
bag skate them.
I mean, it was well done. They did it when none of the kids were in there like changing or anything like that. It was like, there was like 3 kids walking through the room. It was really well done, but it definitely opened the eyes to us as coaches of like, okay, we got to make sure that we're aware of these things, so like team accounts we have full access to, right, as coaches. So if something did happen, we would be able to respond. From a player standpoint, like they know how they're supposed to act, right? And like, we're not their parents. And so for a lot of the social media stuff, it's like, this is up to you and your family, but we are an extension of the school, right? When you're at hockey practice, it's like being at school to a sense of like, you're not taking pictures of other guys without their consent. You're not posting things about somebody else. It's, if you want to be in this video, you can be in this video, but like, we got to make sure everyone's cool with that. They do the locker room stuff. They do the post-game interviews, like that kind of stuff. So, they did at media day, they were doing a video, like a dancing video. They're probably going to think I'm really old for the way I'm talking about this, but yeah, I mean, it exists, right? It's very much a part of it, but I'm a teacher too. And so I see this from very different perspectives. And at the end of the day, like, you can't fully escape it. As much as we would love to say, hey, like, no phones, it's not how the world works anymore. And especially now with high schoolers. And so it's, you embrace what you can embrace, and then you make sure what the standards are that you have to meet.
Yeah. So no, I mean, not only that, but I mean, the scouts are always watching. When I was getting recruited, I had to be careful what I said, what I did, and now it's even more prevalent. In today's day and age, where I think all we do is social media, 30-second videos, but that's still funny. MTV Cribs, you find out ESPN repost it better than non-top 10. I mean.
Well, yeah, it was funny because that happened that year. We ended up actually on the top 10 on ESPN. A save that was made against us in a game ended up on SportsCenter top 10
twice in 1 year.
So twice in 1 year we were on ESPN, and I was like, okay,
we need like the button.
Yeah,
we need the button for the sound effect. The doo 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 doo.
So really quick too. So just thinking about how you're talking about the players and the families and all that. At the end of the year, you have a banquet, my assumptions are.
Yeah.
So, okay. And when you have somebody that's a senior coming through, what is some advice that you would give them along their way? Is it the journey that you're going about? Either, going to college or going to work, playing juniors. What is some of the pieces of advice that you might give a graduating senior as they walk out your door for the last time?
Yeah, I think one of the things we talk about a lot as a team, well, first as a coaching staff, is like, our job is to move kids on to the next level, and that people think that just means hockey. It doesn't, right? Like, we would love to go to a state tournament and win a state championship game, and like, that's the goal of what we're doing. It's not the purpose of what we're doing though. The purpose of what we're doing is to take the young men that come into our program and make sure that they leave in the best possible way, and to be the most prepared for things in the future. And so, it's a lot of stuff we've already talked about, like, having a conversation with a coach that is difficult, because, XYZ isn't happening or whatever. That's like going and talking to your boss, right? Like, you're going to have to do that in life. If you're disagreeing with your line mate about something that's happening on the ice, or you don't get along with a teammate, well, in life, you're going to have to work with people that you don't necessarily get along with. And, not I'm not saying anything about any of my coworkers. They're all great. But like that happens in life, right? Like you are going to have those moments. And I think that's something that we tell our seniors and everybody is it's kind of a throughout the thing rather than like at the very end. It's take the lessons that you are learning here with you, wherever that is. Hopefully for if you want to play college hockey, it's in hockey. But at the end of the day, every road leads back to men's league, and hockey's not going to be there forever. But the lessons that you learn from hockey, if you learn from the game, they're going to be there. And so those are what we want our guys to take with them. And so that's where we try to leave our seniors on that note as best we can.
I love that. And just as you're saying, it's hockey, but it's also more than hockey, right? Travis, I mentioned it earlier a little bit just with scouts, right, coming. And then you had mentioned, well, no matter what it is, if it is, though, going to play college hockey, you're going to have to be scouted. You're going to have to go through that whole process. And so as a varsity coach, you have scouts asking about your players. What are some of the things they ask you about your players? And then what are some of the things that you want to make sure that scouts get across when they're coming to look at your players?
Yeah, we've had conversations with many different scouts over the last few years. Again, we've got a lot of kids playing at the next level, right? And I think one of the things that kids don't understand how by the time they're asking questions about you, they already kind of know what you do as a hockey player, right? And kids are so focused on the points and how that looks and all that. And at the end of the day, that stuff's important. It gets people in the building. But once they're in the building, they want to see what you have. And there's all these different things that they're looking for. When they're talking to coaches, it's like, what's his work ethic like? What does he look like, off the ice? Is he someone you want in the room? Because those things you can't answer on the ice. Like, I look back, Max Ryder, when he was with us, he had a game against Chanhassen, actually, the year they were in the state championship game where he was really, really good. And a coach came and talked to me. It was just like, hey, what's he like in the room? It wasn't how hard does he shoot or this or, like, what's he like in the room? And then you can tell him like he's a great kid, comes from a great family, works really hard, and wants to get better every single day. And it's really easy as a coach when you can have that answer. Right. And so that's like what we try to tell our kids is like, you want everyone, like, you don't know who it will be. Like, you said earlier, Division I or bust. Like, there are some kids who will be like, I don't want to play tier 3 junior hockey. So like, what am I going to say to a tier 3 coach? Well, you never know where that guy's going to be in 2 years. Right. Or who he's talking to tomorrow. Right. And so it's everything. It's like, again, it's about being respectful, and it's similar to a job. Like, if you go in for an interview, you may not get that job, but that may open the door 6 months down the road to getting a job offer that you never knew was a possibility. Well, that's what might happen when you're talking to a scout. And so making sure that you're giving your coach the best opportunity to give the best answers, and that when somebody's talking to you, you're ready. Like, you're like, okay, I'm going to have a professional conversation with every single person who wants to talk to me and like wants to get to know me better. I think that's the biggest thing is like when they're talking to us, it's not really about hockey. It's about intensity, effort, what are they like in the room?
It's what behind the scenes. It's that, hey, is he blocking that shot in the third period, or is he just kind of sticking his stick out there? It's the, what are they doing in the off season? We'll go into another question here real quick, but we talked about your seniors at the banquet, but what are you telling your sophomores, your juniors at that banquet? What are your expectations for the off season for them coming into another year, so you can easily go to those scouts and be like, yeah, this kid has the work ethic. This kid will put in that extra time. What are your expectations for off season for your kids?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of different things that we do. One of the beauties of St. Louis Park and why I love our community so much is we have a ton of multi-sport athletes. So, we have a kid on our team right now who has every potential to be a Division I baseball player. We have a kid who's committed to play Division III baseball, who's a senior. And so, the junior who's got an opportunity to potentially play Division I baseball, right? Like he's going to leave us and then he's going to go play baseball. And so for him, it's like, just continuing to do the little things and um, stay in a gym, get stronger, skate when you can, but focus on baseball, right? Like you work, I'll get to it in a sec. Like we do have stuff we do, but we're not. St. Louis Park is never going to be the program that's trying to push kids to focus 100% on hockey year round. Um, and so for us, a lot of it's athlete building, right? Like when we're in a gym, let's become better athletes. We have a strength and conditioning coach, Jessica, who at the high school, she's a teacher at the school and is a really, really good asset for our players. And so a lot of them work out with her in the summer. We work out with her as a team, throughout the season. A lot of our guys work out with her in the summer as well, because then all of their coaches can kind of see what they're doing, check their progress. The football kid, who plays football, hockey, and baseball can do all three in one place. And then we have a summer training program with us where we skate 3 days a week for, I think it's 6 weeks in the summer, and the guys get out there and get to skate, right? And that we get them together. We do a lot of skill work into, 1 day a week. We're entirely competing. But it's skill work and competition, so that you're getting the fun too, right? Like at the end of the day, hockey's supposed to be fun. You can't just go out there and drill every single day. But I think those are the biggest things. But then you also have the kids who are 100% focused on hockey, right? And like hockey is their sport, it's their passion, and those kids are often doing other stuff. And so it's, okay, what are the main 3 areas? So we have, with every single kid, regardless of their situation, we meet with every kid individually in our program 3 times a year, or try to. We're usually pretty good about it. Occasionally we miss the mid-season one, but it's, the night after tryouts, we meet with every kid and talk about what we saw in tryouts and where they're going to fall. Then in the middle of the season, it's usually like a 2-week period where we meet with every single kid and say, hey, here's what we're seeing. Here's where we're at. Here's where we need to go. Like, that's what we need to do. And then we do exit meetings. We meet with every single kid in an exit meeting and say, hey, these are, I think, the 3 main areas we want to see growth in for you. And for a high school kid, it's almost always one of them is strength. They're growing into their bodies. So much is changing, that, let's get stronger. Let's get, with strength comes quickness and all that. And that's going to work in every sport, right? You get stronger, you're going to get better at all the sports you play. And so that for us, it's like, okay, let's focus on those things, try to get better at those things. So when we do get to tryouts, we're ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I love that too. So I think a question I would have for your team is when you're going out, what's your team motto? I think it was be a champion today was what Notre Dame had for and the movie Rudy, I think, when I saw them going out. What is your team motto kind of that you tell your players?
Yeah, so we kind of have 2. So the first one that we talk about a lot is we have the 3 C's. So it's community, compete, and constant improvement. And so, I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory, right? For us as a small program, like community, it's representing the community, the hockey community, the school community, the city of St. Louis Park. Like, we want to represent that. We want to look good in the community. Like, I tell our guys, like, if you're out wearing the jacket, you better be acting like you're someone that these kids should look up to. And, the little kids around the rink are looking up to you. So you need to act like that. So that's one of them. And then compete is just like every single day we want to compete. And, you look at some of these really big programs that have so many kids. Like we have 2.5 Bantam teams, right? We have Bantam A team, Bantam B team, and then we combine a Bantam C. And Wayzata has, I think, 8 or 9 this year, Bantam teams. The difference for us is we don't have the numbers, so we have to create that competition in ourselves. We have to compete like our spot is on the line every single day, even if it may not be, right? We're like, we feel like, I'm pretty good. I don't really have to work. Like, I'll be comfortable. I'll make the Bantam A team or whatever. Well, no, like, we have to compete. We have to push ourselves internally because we aren't the program that can just be like, oh, you didn't block a shot. See you later. Like, no, we have to find that within ourselves. And so we really push the compete aspect there. And then And then constant improvement. It goes right with compete of just, we need to get better every single day. Again, everything is a stepping stone. Everything is growth. And so we have that constant improvement. And then our other mottos, we actually have written above our door, why not us? Right. And so for us, it's a little bit of that, like, why not? Like, we go out, we're going to play Benilde, why not us? Like, somebody's going to beat them. They're not going undefeated. Why not us? Somebody's going to the state tournament this year, right? Section 2 is crazy. I think the section we're in this year, I think almost every team in it could win the championship, but why not us? Like, it could be us. If you do the work, you put in all those things, like, you might be the one that ends up on top. And so I like that's the last thing the kids see before they get on the ice every period, right? It's like, why not?
Your team plays that. You're like, I've seen your team play. Your team 100% plays, why not us? It is every man touches the puck, every man carries the puck, everyone blocks shots, everyone passes. It is truly why not us? Like, I've watched your games.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the rec. I watched the Benilde Orioles game. Like, it really was why not us? It was, I mean, every shot block, every hit finished. I mean, the guy, there was a big scuffle because one guy just skated into the goalie. I don't think he touched the goalie.
Mm-hmm.
He just got personal space of the goalie. And every Benilde player was just mad. You could tell, every play was finished. It really was why not us?
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool. But how do you get ready for that? How do you, as a coach,
Excited to hear you, man. Wow.
do you have to disconnect from, if you had a bad day, if, one of your students just was getting under your skin at school, whatever. How, as a coach, what's your pregame ritual? Like, what's your routine? How do you get locked in for your players?
I have joked to my players before that they sometimes at practice bear the brunt of whatever my kids at school did, right? Where I'm not, I'm a teacher, so
you took their cell phones away. They're all bag skates.
Yeah, right. Not quite there, but I'm a middle school teacher. I deal with middle schoolers. I teach primarily 6th graders this year, and so there are days where, like, I go into practice and I'm all the way up here, and it's like, okay, I got to bring it down, but then practice isn't going well, and it's like, guys, what's going on? And like, they know that sometimes I'm coming into it a little bit, hotter, but my job is to separate those things. And especially on game days, it's, the beauty of high school hockey is you get JV and varsity back to back. So for me, what I really, really like to do is, I watch every JV game. I am very upfront with all my players that that's a big part of what I do. We take one bus as a team. So the varsity guys, we have a 7 p.m. game in Orono tomorrow, 5 p.m. JV, 7 p.m. varsity. Everybody will be on the bus at 3:45, varsity and JV. So we will all watch the JV game, and the varsity guys will be getting ready for the varsity game. But for me, I love watching the JV games and just letting that be a little bit of like I don't have to make any decisions in this game. I just get to watch and see the improvement, right? The stuff that we're looking for. And it's fun to watch the kid who comes as a sophomore and is, maybe timid in the corners and not fully ready. And then 3/4 of the way through the year, you're like, this kid's getting it. Like, he's starting to really put it together, and you see those varsity futures start to emerge. And so for me, that's a really good way to just let everything else outside the rink go and just focus in on, like, the program building aspect of it. And then as we get closer and closer to the varsity game, it's like, okay, now we get to log back into trying to find a way to win tonight. And that's kind of it.
Do you get a pregame snack? You got to have a favorite pregame snack for the JV game.
Yeah. Well, when we have away games, the team gets sandwiches. I couldn't tell you what my sandwich was right now.
Yeah, that's a sando. That's all that meant. Yeah. If it's bread, cheese, and meat, is there any other kind of sandwiches?
Yeah,
no, okay, peanut butter. There's peanut butter sandwiches, but I mean, sandwiches are bread, meat, and cheese.
We go Jersey Mike's. The kids get Jersey Mike's.
Yes.
So I mean, everything's good there. So we like put in an order at the beginning of the year, and we're near the end. I don't remember what it was, but it's a really good sandwich every single time I have it. And then varsity games, I usually try to stop at Chipotle or home games, I should say. I stop at Chipotle on the way to the rink. There's one right down the street, so it's like you'll do that, do that, and just because you leave school at 3:45, go over to the rink, and not going to be able to eat dinner until 9:30, so you might as well eat it at 4.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's every high school hockey player. Like mine was tacos before home games, and away games was Subway. Like
yeah, mine was in high school. I had this is I still don't believe that I did this, but I had a foot-long tuna sub every hockey game I played from my sophomore year of high school until I graduated from college.
So what?
I had a foot-long tuna sub
from Zozo. I was every away game for football, hockey, lacrosse, everything. Playing high school, I was a foot-long steak and cheese with the Chipotle, and for away games because you got to have half on the bus and then halfway through JV because you're hungry again.
Yep.
And then my home games were Baja Chalupas from Taco Bell, not Chipotle standard.
Yeah.
Not Chipotle standard.
And I was the same, but I remember I played junior hockey in Canada, and I was just like trying to find Subways in Canada. Oh, junior six, like
You're Timmy Hose.
no, but I got a hat trick in it. I had a Subway, I had a foot-long tuna sub from Subway my sophomore year, and I got a hat trick at Varsity that night, and from then on, that was all I could do. It was ritualistic.
Very ritualistic. Very ritualistic.
So that is not fully carried into my coaching career, but
you have
your
pregame places though.
Yeah.
I would literally walk in a circle just before the game, just multiple times. I just that's all I would do. I just walk in circles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it would just wire me. And then I think it's I'd be spinning a top rated, split after that. So you mentioned a lot. I mean, you serve community probably 5-6 times, even 20 times in a most positive way. You grew up in St. Louis Park.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about how the youth program has, their success has correlation to the success of your hockey team. You now coach in St. Louis Park. You teach at the middle school. What is one of the favorite things that you love just about this community, about your city? What keeps on bringing you back? I mean, I know people that grow up someplace and they can't wait to get out of there, and they move as far away as possible from that place. You grew up here. You came back. Not only do you live in your community, you coach in your community, you teach in your community. So what keeps you here? What brings you back? What drives you every single day?
Yeah. Well, I teach at Breakaway Academy now. I did move over there, teaching wise, just for a multitude of reasons. But none of which being that I don't love St. Louis Park and the community and the school district. And I think, for me, what keeps bringing me back and why I love working in this community so much and being a part of it is the people that St. Louis Park creates. And so, again, I said this earlier, but the small town feel within a big city is something that I value so much. And I remember the people that I went to high school with, and seeing them and talking to them, and now it's social media, right? You're seeing how people's lives turn out, but then whenever something happens, seeing all those people talk about oh my gosh, St. Louis Park, this St. Louis Park person did this, and everyone's so proud of each other, even though we haven't talked in however many years it's been since I've been in high school, right? But everyone still is well, St. Louis Park. And then you look at, for us, our alumni game, trying to build this alumni network where, I'm going to have to add ice next year because we had 55 people show up to play in our alumni game this year because these people, genuinely love the program and love being a part of it when we want them back. And just St. Louis Park High School and what it's done for me, what the community's done for me is, something that I'll cherish forever. And so I love being a part of it still and coming back. I moved away for a couple of years playing juniors up in Canada. And then obviously I was in Northfield for college. So I was close, but not here. And then coming back to the community and just it's changed, but it also hasn't changed. The people that come out of our community are the people that you want to be you want to be around. And so that's why I enjoy working in the community so much and in the school district so much.
What's your favorite thing about, the rec and the student section? Let's talk a little bit about the student section. The St. Louis Park student section showed up for the Benilde game.
You're out.
Okay. Oh, that was a big crowd.
Yeah.
Like those, that was top to bottom. That was a student section. So, what is your favorite thing kind of about the rec center? It's a cool rink. First off, that outdoor rink, the Rock, is amazing.
Yeah.
The rink, you split it with Benilde, which is a blue chip, and you guys are coming into it. And that student section, that inner city, St. Louis Park rivalry. What's your favorite thing about kind of all of that and the magic of that rink?
Yeah, well, I mean, the students always show up for Benilde. There's a lot of excitement there. But I mean, we have great students. We have great people, right? I taught so many of the kids that are now at the high school at the middle school that I know that I have that. I know a lot of the kids in the student section, even if they're not hockey players or hockey people. Like, I know them from having taught them. And so I always really like the student sections and getting to see all those kids again. But again, it's a community aspect, right? Like, everybody's supporting everyone. And, our basketball team beat Hopkins this year, and they had a huge student section, and like the excitement around that. And then the hockey team turning in and beating Chan and tying Benilde, and like the excitement when those moments happen for everyone, only builds more excitement. And so then you see bigger and bigger things. Like, I would expect we have big student sections throughout the playoffs. Hopefully it's a bunch of games, but again, it's the community aspect of Orioles support Orioles. So
I was going to say, and once all the teams in the winter start doing good, beating Hopkins in basketball, that's hard to do. That's really hard to do.
He's a blue chip of like.
Yeah, that's impressive. How many NBA players does Hopkins have for that little town? It's ridiculous. But no, that student section was loud. My son was cheering with them real loud against Benilde. We were pulling for you guys. So,
no, that's good.
It was fun. But what's the team walkout song? I gotta know. What are you guys blaring in the locker room when that door comes open and you hit the ice? What's the go-to song?
When they're going by, why not? What are they?
I have literally no idea. I could not tell you what they are playing.
Not know the name of it, or just
no idea what it is. No, they have a song. I don't know what it is.
It's Pink Pony Club.
Yeah, I just don't know.
It's one of those new songs.
It's one of those. It's a new song. I don't know what it is. I also, so we give our pregame speech or whatever when we talk, and then the kids run the lineup, and then I leave, and there's 3 minutes there. We try to give them 3 minutes where then it's their room. Like, they get to do whatever they want. And one of my assistants, or when we're at home, one of our event workers stays by the door to let them know when they have to come out. We try to give them 3 minutes every game to like, so I leave at that point, and so I guess I don't really know what they play in that moment.
You just see them on the bench.
Yeah. They're always ready to go. They're always ready to go when they get out there.
Okay,
so.
What's the goal song then? Do you guys have a goal song?
I do not think we have one this
year.
And
I recommend The Bird Is the Word. Remember Family Got The Bird Is the Word? Can you guys just play that whenever Orioles score?
We used Avicii's Levels.
Oh, great song.
At our holiday tournament the last 2 years, I believe.
That's a good one.
But
we'll get a petition to change The Bird Is the Word.
Yeah, there you go.
I can see her like free for
I mean, everybody's doing Freebird now, right? Because of the World Juniors.
Imagine putting up 8 goals on someone. Ooh, World Juniors. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to talk. I want to know. Okay, I want to know your AA prediction for Minnesota State boys team.
Okay.
So we're gonna hear that.
I think Moorhead's gonna win again.
Okay.
I think
Zao.
You look at that team; they're top to bottom. They're really good. I hear a lot of our JV head coach, one of my assistant coaches, is Moorhead, born and raised, played for them. So he's still very connected up there. They really believe in that team. As good as they've been, Joey Cullen's been hurt, and I mean, he might be the best player in the state when he's healthy and on. So adding that team to what they already have as the playoffs roll up, I mean, they've got just some unbelievable talent already. I mean, Minnetonka, you can't go wrong with them. As good as they are this year, I actually played for Coach Goldsworthy in college. She was the coach my freshman year at St. Olaf.
Eve and Goldsworthy.
Yeah, no,
It's not for.
I mean, I had really good experiences with the guys that I had coach me through in juniors and in college, and I played for Sean Podine in high school.
Yeah.
Tim Donahue was around for a really long time. I had him in high school. Like I've played for some really good coaches, and I hope that has turned me into a really good coach. I try to, you try to take the good things and then remember the things you didn't like and try to fine tune as much as you can. So
Yeah. Okay. So Moorhead and loving hearing it. Even their Bantam double A team, I hear had some. I think they won state. Or had a.
I think they've won like Bantam AA and Pee Wee AA state in the last
they're
past like 6 years. They have like 8 championships or something.
Who's your dark horse? Who's your wild card out? Who's your wild card for AA? Who could make a run?
One team we saw this year that was really impressive to me was Farmington. So we played them in the South St. Paul Holiday Tournament, and they were very fast. They beat Lakeville South not too long after that game, and so I think they'll probably be the 1 seed in that section. So, dark horse, but I mean that's a team that's never really there.
Yeah,
and they I really liked that team.
That's so wild card. Yeah, or they won AA.
Yeah.
Isn't that like Rochester's and Lakevilles? That could, I could see that being a wild card with them making a run through 1 AA, beating up on the Rochesters and the Lakevilles, and that'd be cool to see some Farmington and some.
It's fun seeing teams that hadn't always maybe arriving, and so and St. Louis Park is going to be on that as well. I'm excited for the 1A tournament as well. You had mentioned World Juniors. We want to get into that, but did you watch the Four Nations?
Oh yeah.
Okay, the first game, first minute. Whoa, just give us a couple of things.
The first Canada game.
Yeah, like that's one way to. I know, right? That's what I was saying. That was incredible. It was incredible. Yeah, what did you think about it?
I mean, I loved it. I think it, speaking to the hockey's for everyone, right? Like that was. They got hockey in front of a lot of eyes that day. And the intensity, the desire, I think, going into it, some hockey people are like, well, how hard are they going to try for this nothing tournament? That's not how hockey players are wired.
They tried.
Right? I mean, that's not how hockey players are wired. And like you put a USA jersey or a Canada jersey on, and those guys will run through a wall. And I, looking at the Olympics and like, the stories like Nathan McKinnon, I read an article today where he was like, I'm here to win. And they were like, oh, like, have you gone to see figure skating or gone to see curling? Or he's like, yeah, no, I'm here to win. Like, I'm here to win gold. He's just locked in because he's putting a Canada jersey on and wants to do whatever it takes. And that game showed that, right? Like right away, like Team USA was there to show that they were not afraid of Canada. But it showed the passion that all of those players had for wearing their national colors. And that was cool to see.
It was really cool to see. And then the unfortunate, because we're Americans, so I hope that y'all think it's unfortunate. But the golden goal game, 10 years to the day that Crosby puts it in. But, McDavid with the berry, McDavid gets the biscuit. But that's all she wrote. But yeah, I mean, tell us about your thoughts on that. What do you think of the Travis? What about your first,
Man, that golden goal, it hurt. That golden goal.
It hurt.
Like, it is 10 years the day of watching Crosby do it to us. Both. Here we are, and like, I mean, even before McDavid had that opportunity, Bennington just... And I'm actually... So,
you're right. Fair was wild.
Full disclosure here, I am a Blues fan. I'm a fan. I'm from
Canadian.
I'm from Southeast Missouri. I am from Southeast Missouri. So, when Bennington came up to the Blues and, play Gloria, I played Gloria a lot. My first hockey jersey is a Chris Pronger. Like,
it's unfortunate. I did like you before I hurt. So, and
I was like, that's not a bad fit. It's not as easy. Okay. It's a thing. It's a thing. But I mean, see Bennington just stood, like some of those saves he had on like Matthews in the third, like you're like, dude, I want to throw a water bottle at you.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Big players show up in big moments.
That's what it is. And that's coaching. Yeah. It's coaching is when your number is called. That's what it was, is Canada's number was called, and They answered. It was.
It was.
I love the Kachuk brothers, also from Missouri. I'm just saying.
Really? Are they actually?
I'm pretty sure the Kachuk brothers grew.
When you said it was sorry. They play for the Junior Blues.
Yeah, so I mean, hey,
Wow.
junior.
He was putting out prospects, man. That's okay. I wonder how many people
Hockey is growing in Missouri. We'll have to do a podcast on that one.
And next one. No. Well, maybe I'm not sure.
We could. I mean,
Pronger in here.
I wish I had Pronger to bring in here.
All right, and then the last one from tournament wise, again, we talked about Olympics, Stanley Cup, right? Who's going to win the Stanley Cup 2026 this year? Or it would be 2026.
Yeah.
Who win the Stanley Cup 2026?
Well, I have to put my money where my mouth is, and I have to say the Minnesota Wild.
Not a bad call.
So
First time I'll ever agree with that.
like normally I would just be like, all right, like we all know it's a first round exit, but
I love the way the Wild are playing right now. I still think Bill Guerin's got something up his sleeve, and here's the thing. I think whoever comes out of the Central is going to win the Cup. And I think the Avalanche would be a very good pick. That's an unbelievable team. That it's a bummer the way the NHL playoff format works, where the Wild are going to have to see Dallas and then see Colorado back to back. But I really love the way the Wild are playing, and the Minnesotan within me watches them and says, "This, I have to pick them."
my favorite thing about this team is extending games.
Yeah.
Just the number of times they have gone into overtime and won it. And everyone's like, well, there's no 3-on-3 in the playoffs. I'm like, a 5-4 game in the third period that you tie up is the same whether you're in the playoffs or February. And this team just, I mean, how many times have we seen it like come down a goal or two and they just keep coming back and they battle in overtime?
They can score with anyone. Yeah, they can score with anyone.
Yeah. Faber. Who's Faber all of a sudden? Like,
Like
I know his family well. Like,
yes.
He's just blossoming. His confidence is at an all-time high.
Amazing.
I hope
You give an elite player someone elite to play with, and you just watch what happens, because it's.
I heard rumors that who's the Ranger, Trocheck or whatever?
Yeah.
He was trying to join the Wild photos today. All the others. I heard rumors of that. So maybe that's some foreshadowing of what Billy G's got up his sleeve.
And I agree with everything you're saying too, though, about the Wildcat. Because normally, I think you're saying first exit, but we're seeing a different team, right? We're seeing grit. We're seeing them playing like the St. Louis Park Orioles, from what I'm hearing as well. And but seriously, I mean, like I think about teams that are championship teams that you see that you play on and stuff like that, right? You mentioned like anybody at any given time can put that puck in. Yeah, you got guys maybe during the year that are your scorers. You got guys that are gonna hit. You got guys that do all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to the wire, when it comes down to championship time, when it comes down to overtime, right? Who can get it done? And the Wild have consistently shown us this year that they've been that team. So yeah, I mean, like I could see that being the case.
We even have goaltending.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you're right. I mean, that honestly could mean everything, right? You could have the toughest offense. You're putting
that's hot in the playoffs. Vasilevsky every year. Vasilevsky, Bennington. That team went from last to the Stanley Cup because of a hot goaltender.
And everybody's talked obviously about Jesper Wallstedt this year and the year he's having. It's been unbelievable to see, and the turnaround from his year last year to this year, like the future is bright for him. But also Philip Gustafsson is having an unbelievable year and is a top flight goalie in the NHL, and now he won't be tired, right? He's going to be fully ready in the playoffs. I'm excited to see what happens.
What would a Wild Stanley Cup mean to us? But you go.
I mean, I can't even really fathom what it would mean. This hockey community, it would be unbelievable for, and just getting to see a cup here with the passion that Minnesota sports fans have for Minnesota sports, and the heartbreak that has happened to every sports team in this community. We've never seen a championship. Well, we've only had
the Dallas Stars championship was our championship.
Yeah,
multiple our team we built.
Multiple have been stolen, and I mean, the women's hockey and the Lynx and the women's sports around here are really good. It's about time for the men's hockey to step up, or men's sports in general to step up and win one. And it's funny to just see the the duality of, you watch the men's team struggle and then you watch the Frost win and then win. And it's just so easy for them. Like, let's do it with the men.
Can we do it one? I can.
Girls, a women's gopher team is.
Yeah, they're always right there. I don't know.
I can tell you now. We win a Stanley Cup.
Oh, what is it?
We win the Stanley Cup. I'm going to Cabela's. I'm buying a tent. You can catch me outside Tom Reed's on 7th Street. I am camping there until that parade, and it's going to be me and my son. I will camp for days. Like, bookmark it now. It's on film too.
I was gonna say
This is a whole lot of I'm telling you. We'll check back at one of the later episodes. If the Wild win the Stanley Cup, I will camp on 7th Street from the minute game, whatever we win, the minute we get to see Jared Spurgeon host the cup that's as tall as him.
Yeah.
Okay. So the minute we see that, until that parade, I will camp on 7th Street. That is, I
feel like we could get some really good fundraising out of that. If you're going to do that for the Warriors.
do it.
Oh, man.
I will sit. You guys just
you heard it here, folks.
DoorDash me food. I'll be at Tom Reed's. That'd be fine.
Food team.
Because that is sounds great. I will say,
You had a lot of options.
if we win this, I would camp.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I'll camp on. We have it bookmarked now. I will camp on.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This is a Hockey for Everybody podcast. We have Varsity's coach from St. Louis Park, Tyler Brodersen, joining us again. Check out the first episode. We will be following Tyler's team, the St. Louis Park Orioles, as they advance to the state tournament this year, and very likely will win. So I'm very excited. Thank you so much for your time, and we will see you again. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me.